Hello and welcome to the TSI AFL studios. Nat Edwards and Robert Walls with you. Well, prior to round 22, North Melbourne had won 9 of its past 10 matches. They were warm favourites to beat Fremantle and even hotter favourites when Fremantle skipper Matthew Pavlich pulled out at the last minute. But they couldn't get the job done, Robert. What went wrong for North Melbourne, and is it the loss that they needed to have?
Well, it's an interesting one, Nat. They've been up for a long time. They'd beaten Collingwood the week before, the Kangaroos, and they were sailing along so very well. And the Dockers came to town and cleaned them up. I just thought we had two teams that played really different brands of football. North Melbourne, the second highest scoring team in the competition behind Hawthorn, and you had the Dockers who just locked down teams so very, very well, put the stranglehold on them. I was really curious to see how this game would unfold, and I believe that a lot of teams would look to see what the Dockers did. What did the Dockers do? Well, for a start, North Melbourne's had these 3 dominant tall forwards over the last 2 months, and we're talking about Hansen and Petrie and Tarrant. The Dockers had 3 tall defenders who could go with them and spoil aggressively in the air. So that was one tick to the Dockers. The other thing that the Dockers did was deny North Melbourne the ball. North Melbourne loved to switch the play, go sideways, go backwards, find players out in space, take uncontested marks and run the ball on from there. While the Dockers, they went one-on-one all over the ground and just denied North the chance to get that chain going. Once the ball got into Fremantle's forward line, they locked it in with some ferocious tackling. And I'm talking about Hayden Ballantyne, best game I've ever seen him play. Main Walters, who's going to be a really good player, and Matt de Boer, who's becoming such an important part of that Fremantle outfit. If we have a look at some stats from the game and compare it with the season's average, you'll get a better understanding of what happened to North Melbourne. North Melbourne had 66 uncontested marks in the game. Their average for the season is 76. They only had 7 contested marks, the Kangaroos. Their average for the season is 11. Clearances, 34 against the Dockers. Their average is 39, so they were down there. Hitouts was another area where North Melbourne really struggled. They only had 15 hitouts for the game against the Dockers. Their season average is 40. They were also down in disposals. This is one of the highest disposal teams, the Kangaroos. 328 against the Dockers. Season average 369. End result, they could only kick 12 goals against the Dockers. Their season average was 16. So they certainly had their wings clipped, the Kangaroos, by this Dockers team. And as you mentioned, it was done without Matthew Pavlich.
All right, thank you very much for joining us on TSI AFL. Don't forget, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.